All right, everyone, we are back to break down some more Austin Bookers. I promise this time for those who join us and who joined me yesterday, the game will be up at all times. Okay, I will not show part of it and break down just a blank screen of a RAS score. We got the screen up and working. We're going to get right into it. We are watching Austin Booker versus BYU. I could have shown the Texas game again and done that again, but I thought the BYU tape was interesting because there was a prospect for BYU that just got drafted by the Chiefs. I think he was the last pick of the second round, Kingsley Suamataia, which Austin Booker goes up again. And yeah, we're just going to jump right into it. I'm really excited. I thought this was, again, another strong game from him. But yeah, let's. So again, apologies for some of the quality too. It usually just takes a minute to get. Yeah, okay. Again, for those who joined me yesterday, he is not an every down player, so you kind of have to kind of scroll through and scrub out the reps that he's in the game. And he plays primarily most of the snaps. Just sometimes on the early downs where Kansas is expecting run, they want to take him off, and that's kind of the player he is, which we will dive into once we actually see him. And that was a pick six, lol. So as we continue to scroll and look for number 9 for Kansas, which I promise you, you will be able to spot him out. He sticks out like a sore thumb. There he is, a very unique build, very tall and lanky. I said yesterday, kind of looks like a basketball player that just stepped on a football field and is wearing football pads. But he kind of uses all of that, his frame and his type to his advantage as a pass rusher. So here he's head up over what it looks to be like the tight end, kind of playing like a 6-7 technique. And this is interesting usage because personally, I want him out in space, but Kansas, to each their own. They do some interesting stuff. So nothing really to take away here on this play. I think he tried to, again, this is a famous move of his. He likes to work the outside. He couldn't really get a full clean get off the ball because the tight end was in the way. So he kind of was head up over the tackle, or more head up than you would ideally want him to be. But here, I can skip to the overhead view too. But he kind of tried to do the patented sell outside and then cut back inside. I just don't think he landed the swipe to kind of go up and over and the inside. Didn't land his move. But again, what you love, even though he just got laid out here and cleaned up on, this is against Suamataia. Again, what you love about Booker is he's always working, right? Even though he didn't land his move, that motor never stops. And you can see some guys kind of just concede losses in those situations. And that is not really Booker's game. Like, he's just always high energy, high effort. Again, something I think really stood out to the Bears, obviously. Like, those are the kind of players they're looking for. So this is kind of where I want him, right? Outside of the tackle. I know the tight end or whatever, the H-back here is standing in for some protection. And you see that quite often with him. Teams like to give him extra attention because he is such a good pass rusher. He can ruin game plans for you. But you want him kind of outside the tackle. I would even line him up farther out to give him as much room to work with. And they're optioning him off here. Again, another sign of respect. If you can't block him, option off him, right, and try to make him wrong, which you often see in this game. I think I remember they try to option off him a lot because they don't want him wrecking the game. And that's one way to take them out of it. And look at him. He's still aware enough to get in that throwing lane, not just pursue recklessly. He knows a pass is coming right behind him most likely, and he's going to try to make that play and gets kind of tabletopped a little bit. But still, I think you see those plays a lot where he recognizes what they're trying to do and can diagnose it pretty quickly. And again, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but this is so impressive for a guy who's only played 500 snaps. Like, to have that recognition, like even with a guy like Tyree Wilson, he just played with his head like a chicken with their head cut off. Like, he was just running around, not really knowing what he was doing. And he was just a big, strong athlete doing that. That is not Austin Booker. Like, there is definitely some thinking through the game to his game, which you just love to see. All right, so what do we got on this next play? So it looks like they're taking him out of the game. Again, this is kind of the downside of watching the situational pass rush type, because they do rotate him in and out a handful of times a game. So you kind of just, again, you got to kind of scrub out the plays that he's in and the plays that he's not. Okay, so I believe, yeah, he's right here, kind of again, head up, like shaded outside of the tackle, in between the tackle and the tight end. And it's a false start, or I don't even know what happened there, but again, not important. See, again, like I really don't. This is not really what I want him doing in the NFL. Again, playing up head up over a tight end, I guess I'm not going to be have that big of an issue with. But again, you want him in as much space as possible. Um, and yeah, he kind of just overcommitted there. Didn't really pick up on the lead blocker. The lead blocker got the angle on him, but again, a minimal gain. It happens. It is what it is. I'd say he diagnoses those plays more times than not. So not the usual there. Again, RPOs, right? Like there's like not a whole lot to take away. Like you love the hand placement here. You love how he's reading run. You wish he was maybe a little bit more leveraged on the outside, really setting that edge. But that's not going to be his game. For those who stuck around with me in the last stream, like he's just not really an edge setter. He's a knifer in the run game. He's going to make positive plays and give up some negative ones. Like he's never going to be the guy who's just kind of steady Eddie. He's going to be more volatile in that regard. The more you watch him, that's just kind of a reality you got to live with. Yeah, and also probably something to address here too is like some people are just look at him and say he's a quote unquote 3-4 outside linebacker, like he has to stand up. I really don't care how you in your like I know some defensive coordinators feel a way about it more than others, but I really don't care how you run or go off, get off the ball, like your stance. You can be in a 3-point stance, you can be in a 4-point stance, you can be in a 2-point stance, whatever you're best at, that's fine. I think what matters more is your alignment. Like, are you aligning head up over the tackle, or are you aligning as a wide nine, which I'd want him as a wide nine, which I think with the Bears, he will be. And when I say by wide nine, I mean all the way outside the tackle, like right here. If you can see my mouse, like right here, like I want him playing in space. That's the type of edge rusher where he's most dangerous, where he's got room to work with. And so, yeah, they're just trying to run some games here. And when I say games, that means stunt, right? So that's just trying to throw off their protection and get someone schemed open, which it looks like he was the looper to do so, and they just picked him up. Again, these aren't the best to learn from an evaluation standpoint. The Bears are going to ask him to do this a ton. The Bears stunt a ton. But you don't not like really seeing him any skills like him displaying any skills. Sorry, I'm stuttering there, but you don't really see him displaying any skills as a pass rusher, like those one-on-one situations. Who's better than who? Like it's not really that. So yeah, here's him. Okay, yeah, he's moving back in, but that was an example of him at the wide nine. And look at them just defeating blocks, man. You just love to see it. You love to see it. It gets me fired up. He does this a lot where he knows guys are going to come at him super aggressively and he's just going to swipe their hands and get right past them. And this is the on the positive side of how he defends the run. These are the plays you can see, or you don't really see it in this play because they're running away from him, but how he creates negative plays for opposing offenses is plays like this where he can just completely destroy a block and get in the backfield. Like, I mean, just completely olays him and leaves the tackle grasping for air. And his hands are just so quick, and he's so hard to get just a good, clean shot on his chest. He's aware enough to keep his chest clean, which is everything in the trenches. Like, that's how you stay unblocked. Skipping past. Sorry, just giving a look to see how the stream's looking. It's looking good. Okay, so we got him kind of lined up outside the tackle here. These are the reps you really want to pay attention to. He's going up against Kingsley Suamataia, an NFL tackle who was drafted in the top 64 picks. Again, they're going to try to kind of option him a little bit. Not really. They had kind of a split zone blocker coming in to clean him up. But look, he's aware enough to dodge that blocker and still get in on the play. And that's what you want, right? Like, you want guys with that kind of feel. Some guys just don't feel it. They just want to go forward and not really have a plan or reason why. And he knows exactly what he's doing on recognizing blocking schemes. See, and this is the problem I have with some of Kansas's usage of him, right? Like you're just not really setting him up for success here. And what I mean by that is like, why are you lining up him head up over the tackle? Like I get it's maybe a formational situation if they want to drop this guy into coverage, but like I never want a guy like Austin Booker lining up playing a 4-eye. Where when I say 4-eye, that's like a 3-4 defensive end spot. Like he's 6'3" or 6'4" or whatever, barely touching 240. Like he's never going to do this in the NFL. He's always going to be the guy that's playing in space. So I mean, like you just really, it's a pass rushing down, right? And you just didn't really give him a whole lot of room to get off the ball. So while he didn't really do much, he tried to move, he tried to kind of chop that outside hand down. Yeah, he didn't really have a shot here. And that's kind of what drives me crazy about Kansas's usage of him. If I had to have a complaint, but he's never going to do that kind of stuff in the NFL. I wouldn't assume he's going to be doing a lot of this, right? Where he's lined up so far outside of the tackle. Obviously, he's a little bit shaded inside the tight end, but like he can play with tight ends, man. Like he's not going to give up a lot of ground. Like he makes sure that that edge is set. Yeah, I mean, oh, it looks like they had like a okay, never mind. My counting is off. This is the tackle, but this is what you're going to ask him to line up in. Whether he's standing up or wide nining, it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's probably going to matter to the Bears. They're probably going to want his hand in the dirt, but you're going to want him lining up outside the tackle. And like, yeah, he's not going to be like a stack, hold the edge type, but at least he knows like I'm not going to let anyone get outside of me, which is what you want, right? You want to force everything inside if you're an edge rusher. And that's kind of what he tries to do there, even though he knows he can't really hang in the run game with the bigger guys. Okay. He's again kind of in a 7 technique, I would say, kind of over the tackle. And there we go. Look, there's some hand pop right there. And I know it was a screen, right? It's not like a true drop back pass, but watch him work this inside hand. This is I remember breaking this play down when I watched him by myself. This is really smart stuff here. So again, if you guys heard me talk about him yesterday, Austin Booker really does love countering back to the inside, which I don't think you can get away with as much in the NFL. Tackles just don't really lose that way because they're better athletes. They're not as threatened by outside speed rushes because a lot of them are just better, and they don't have to sell out like some of these college tackles do. But if you're going to do it, like at least throw different moves in. Like there are some times where he'll just do a quick Euro step to counter inside, but this is a power rush back in the inside. And he gets right under his pads, right? He's going to put his hand right under his inside shoulder and really get him off kilter. And I mean, he gets held the entire way, right? Like, and what I love about it is the timing of the hand placement, right? So when you're going to implement power moves, especially for a lighter guy that I think is kind of powerful for Austin Booker, but ultimately like not the most powerful guy in the world. I mean, you can see him right now. He's pretty slight for an edge rusher. You have to be really precise with your timing when you implement moves. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. So when this tackle is setting, right, when those feet come together and his base is off kilter, you got to think about it like if you were trying not to get pushed over, you're the most sturdy when your base is wide and you're planted into the ground. But when guys start to click their feet together, that's when you can get them off balance, and which is exactly what happens here. That tackle gets his feet together right here. Boom. He's off balance. Now I can get inside you and then get held the entire way. That wasn't called. And then he's still making the play down the field. I mean, it's just that was a great rep. And it really goes to show you the difference between timing and just trying stuff and hoping shit sticks. Like you in order to kind of maximize your ability when you're not the most athletic guy. You got to have everything else down, which is pretty crazy to say Austin Booker's so good at already, given that he's so new to football, right? Like 500 career snaps to his name, really only played 1 year. Again, it's really impressive. Yeah, and then you wonder what they are asking him to do here. It looks like some type of zero blitz, and if they're just playing contain, both edge rushers, it looks like that's what they're doing. Um, so he's not really teeing off because they're relying on the interior linebackers to get home. Um, but you love that he has the length to get into passing lanes, like, and he can actually make deflections in that regard. Okay, we're just gonna skip past this. Again, just gonna check on how this stream's looking. All right. Yeah, let's keep going. Sorry, y'all. That it's this is a process, man. When you got to really scrub through and see what snaps he's playing. All right, we got him head up over, or kind of like in between the tackle and the tight end. And you notice like teams often go away from him, which is again is like a sign of respect to me. Like they don't want him to wreck the game. And you see them option him, you see them run away from him, you see them chip him. Like they know this guy is a difference maker. Um, and in this, and even like this, the subtleness of, I'm not saying this happened on this very play, but just like having a tight end in the way to like not let him, he's going to always have to think about the tight end before he can just tee off and get after the passer. There are so many plays like that where they're keeping the tight end or running back or H back or whatever it may be on his side, which again is a sign of respect. Okay, we don't want this guy wrecking the game. And look, where does he finish? By the ball, right? I'm telling you, this is what got him drafted to the Bears. This is what made them say whatever you want about technique. This is why they love Braylon Trice too. Say whatever you want about technique. Say whatever you want about pass rush ability, the ability to run, defend the run. If you don't play hard, doesn't matter how talented you are, you're not going to be for the Bears. And that is one thing you could not say about Austin Booker. He plays with his head on fire. All right, so we got him, and look, they got a slot receiver. Kind of, what's he about to do? Oh, it's a running back. But then they do this bullshit, right? No offense. Like I get what they're trying to do here because it's like a fire blitz. So he's going to drop into coverage, and they're going to bring pressure from the slot corner on the other side, and he's going to try to fill in for the void. But like, why are you doing this with your best edge rusher? Wouldn't be my preference. But to each his own. And look, he's still in the thick of things, right? Even as a guy who was dropping into coverage, he's still making the play, still finishing the play. Okay, so he's lined up he's kind of as a wide nine, as a stand-up rusher, and look, they're just BYU. I should have probably like picked another game. There are a couple of reps where he goes up against Sumach Dia that I think are really valuable to look at. But look, they're just really trying to take him out of the game, and they're doing a really poor job at it. They're trying different stuff. They're leaving him as the end man on the line of scrimmage clean, and he's still making plays, right? That's what you love about Austin Booker. Like he's always in the mix of things. And even as a run defender too, like there are some guys who just like to just rush the passer because they know they can't really hang in the run game. He's going to throw his entire body at the play. Like he's not going to give up that kind of ground. I shouldn't say give up that kind of ground. He's not going to just take the play off because he knows guys are bigger than him. Like it's not a plan of attack for him. And yeah, they're just trying different blitzes. So again, he's just trying to occupy this tackle. So again, like I get what they're trying to do, but not the best for an evaluation for sure. So I'm sorry if I'm just skimming past these plays. I'm just trying to show the ones that like you really do get to see the talent that kind of separates himself. And look, they're dropping him into coverage. Stuff's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. Okay. I'm just gonna take a quick second to look if there's any comments. Okay, yeah, I hope you guys are here for the ride, and we're gonna keep with. I might change games if it's more of the same, but I think there is a point in this game when Kansas gets up and he's really just able to pin his ears back and get after it, and you really start to see some of those clean wins that I value so highly. What I think the Bears are going to use him for. And yeah, I'm that's kind of what I'm looking for here. And here's an example, but I think is where you start to see some of the limitations with him as a pass rusher. I know this was it looked like a good sequence. Like he did win this rep, I would say. But again, it's more so of an inside counter. And like having an inside counter is awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's just, you don't want to be too reliant on winning on the inside. I feel like that's the hardest way to win in the NFL, and why being a good pass rusher is so rare, because there's only so many guys that can consistently win getting on a tackle's outside hip and getting around them. And you kind of see here, he's not able to do that. This is like a true pass rush rep that you'll see in the NFL. I know it's a quick game concept, so he's not really able to get to the quarterback at any time, but just the process behind the rep, he's kind of teeing off here, and he's not quite able to get to that outside shoulder. He tries chopping this hand down. He tries to get himself clean. He's not able to do that. So he knows, all right, I got to work back inside. But I wish he didn't even have to do, and maybe that's some of his limitations, right? Because we saw his athletic testing. It was okay. It wasn't great. You wish he didn't have to hit this. Watch him hit that inside move, right? Because he's really trying to sell the inside and then get back to the outside and really clean up that angle for him. And he's not quite able to do that. But, the best guys are just like, well, I'm fast enough. I can just fire off the ball and not really have to think twice about it. And maybe that's the lacking area of his game. You've seen him do it before, though. It's not like it's not on his tape. I thought he did it a lot at the Senior Bowl, and in the Texas game, you saw it more. But yeah, you wish there was a little bit more reps where he doesn't try to string as many moves together and he can just pin his ears back and win a little bit quicker. Yeah. I'm just never going to get behind dropping your best edge rusher in coverage. Like, this is never going to be my MO. I'm never going to endorse that, but, I get it. He's big and long. Some teams really like to do that. I don't think the Bears are going to do that a bunch. Like, if he's coming on the field, I think it's going to be to get after the passer, but, once or twice. Yeah, and they're just leaving him unblocked. They're really trying to just get the ball out quickly and make him a non-factor, but he's still I mean, like, his motor just never ends. Like, watch this hit. Boom. Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see that. That's the stuff that makes Matt Eberflus get chills. Seeing hits like that. Like, this is the guys they want, man. Guys who are willing to make those plays, right? Where teams try to take them out, but it doesn't matter. They're still going to be around the ball making plays. Yeah, and it kind of speaks to what I'm saying. Like, I wish he was just a little faster off the ball here. Really just sell to the outside. Like, I just want to see him try it more. Like, I don't I don't even think this is like a physical limitation. I just think he just needs to be better at getting off the ball in time. Like, the ball snapped and he's still in his stance. Like, the ball snapped here all right, you got to get up. You got to start getting upfield, right? And that could be something they're coached to do. They could be thinking run still. Like, I mean, the running back is running towards the ball, and maybe he doesn't want to overcommit. But I wish he would just play with his ears pinned back a little more because he's not able to get to the edge. But again, BYU is doing a bunch of stuff to kind of take the offensive line out of the game. They're moving the pocket and throwing screens and RPOs and stuff like that. It's not the easiest for an evaluation, but so he's kind of head up over the tackle here. And this is, I think this is a good example of some of the risk he takes, right? You don't want to be in that situation. Like he just fucked up here. I don't know if the play went anywhere, but I just wanted to see it from this angle. You don't want to be on the outside of this play and crashing down. Like, you want to make sure you're outside the tackle, taking on the pullers. And I know he threw it, but if he would have handed that off, that could have been a massive gain. The quarterback just completely misread that. I don't know why he went down on that, because now you have free blockers getting up to the second level, which is not what you want to do as an edge rusher. And that was like maybe one of the worst decisions I've ever seen a quarterback make, because he didn't hand it off, which he should have, and then almost threw an interception. You hate to see it. Yeah, and again, like this is good that we're seeing a different side of him. I think going up against a better athlete here, and again, okay, so he is lined up as a wide nine rusher here. And again, what I mean by wide nine is he's all the way outside of the tackle. He's able to pin his ears back. He's in space. This is where he's probably going to play in the NFL most of the time. And again, they're throwing bodies at him, even though they're not chipping him. They have guys in the way, so I understand why he doesn't want to run directly into these guys. But again, you just wish he was stay on the outside, stay on the outside. I get it. Like, if you can't get the angle, then try to counter back inside, which is exactly what he does here. But I just want to see more speed rush, because as a guy who's as frail as him, he's gonna have to. That's gonna have to be a part of his game in some way, shape, or form. But he does. He hits a power move and he counters back inside. There's nothing wrong with that. Get the job done. I get it. And look, he almost made the play. But I think you see a little bit too many inside moves, because I'm telling you, it might be really. I mean, it is really impressive at the college level. But I'm telling you, you're not going to win that much like that in the NFL. You're just not. Leonard Floyd was the king for all my Bears fans who are watching right now. Leonard Floyd was the king of the inside move, and his pass rush production never lived up to where. This is totally off on a tangent here, because one was the 9th overall pick, one was a 5th round pick. I'm just saying it's the same in the NFL for everyone. Leonard Floyd was the king of countering back inside, and like he was really good at it in college when he was a better athlete than everyone else. But once you get to the NFL, guys just take that away. And if they know you can't beat them with speed, they're not gonna really be threatened by anything else. This is like an all-time just horrendous performance from this BYU quarterback. I mean, this is just. I think this is Keaton Slovis too, who's like he actually just got picked up by an NFL team. But yeah, I mean, this is bad. And if you leave a tight end on him, that's just the ultimate disrespect here. Which quick and easy. I'm gonna get through. I'm gonna get right to the quarterback. Yeah, I think of NFL tight ends, if you leave them on Austin Booker, it's gonna be a long day for you. Yeah, and here they're trying just more funky blitzes, right? He's just going to occupy this tackle and let the slot defender come off the edge. They must not have thought much of this running back and pass protection, because they're continuing to do this. So, yeah, I mean, he still kind of like gets through a little bit, almost. Yeah, I mean, he never stops. He never stops. Yeah, again, it's just too many inside moves for me. I know they're working, right? I know they're working. I'm not trying to take that away from him, but like, and I can't really blame because they're trying to chip him here. I get it, man. Like, but I mean, the nice thing about him though is he's just so slippery. Like even throughout this entire process, I know the tackle's still kind of staying in front of him. There's never a point where the tackle gets his hands on his chest cleanly. Like he's always a moving target, which that feel I think is a very good baseline to start with. Even though he is precise with his hands, but there are sometimes where he just will miss on moves, like everyone. I just think the natural feel of his game to just kind of stay unblocked, stay unengaged, out of a tackle's grasp is such a nice baseline to work with. Some guys are content just being that close. Like they'll just try to hit it. Like Marshawn Nealon, I think, is a very good example who the Cowboys just drafted. If that bull rush doesn't work, like he's dead to rights, right? Like that's never on Austin Booker's tape from the games that I've seen so far. Yeah, we're sorry. We're just gonna skip past, and I think towards the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken, there are some like reps where he just starts to tee off, but they're really like trying to take their offensive line out of the game. And look at awareness here. So he thinks that they're going away from him, right? Which they are. Like this is a rollout play. And I think this was a leak play where the tight end is going to leak out because the entire defense sees him sprinting to one direction. And they're just going to leak a tight end out and try to kind of misdirection them and fool them into not picking him up. And look who picks him up. The edge rusher, Austin Booker, sees it the entire time. He's like, oh, look, he stopped his feet. He's not continuing to go over there. I'm going to get in the way of this passing lane. It's exactly what he does, right? Makes the throw difficult. I mean, the entire Kansas defense sniffed this one out, but I'm just saying, like, that kind of awareness from a guy who's played 500 snaps. Those are the kind of football players you want on your team. And this is a cool play, actually. This is a cool play, and this is some good hands use. It's another inside counter, right? Or not inside counter, another inside move. But I think it's a scheme pressure where they're both attacking, not a scheme pressure. I'm sorry for my terminology if I'm just throwing out. I'm not the best on the fly, but they're both attacking the same gap where this guy's going to attack it, and then Austin Booker is going to get inside and attack it as well, and kind of just overwhelm the two. And that's exactly what they do. But look at how fast he's able to hit this inside move. He's going to fake on the outside, swipe with his inside hand, and come over with that, chop with that outside hand. And he is there in a split second. Boom. And makes the play. I mean, when you're moving that fast, like, I don't care who you are, that's going to be hard to block at the NFL. And again, I know I just ranted and got on my soapbox about inside moves, but like they do work. I'm not saying that's like impossible, but that kind of Euro step, man, you love to see it. All right, sorry for the quality again. I think it's going to clear up, but he is on the outside right here. Again, they're optioning him. They're not wanting to make him involved in the play. They're trying to make him wrong rather than try to beat him fair and square. So they're reading him, and obviously he stays, so they're going to hand off the ball, feed it inside. I don't know why the quality goes in and out. Let's see if I can. Oh, that's probably why. There we go. So he's not in on this play. All right. Hopefully, I don't think I finished this game when I watched it because I was like I think I could have sworn I saw more reps with him and Sumatia, but I could be wrong. I might just have to like go through his Senior Bowl clips and really watch him tee off because that's where I was like, whoa, like this dude has multiple ways to win. Okay, here we go. And look, he's a really smart player, man. He's a really smart player. This is just a high level understanding of what an offense is trying to do, not just playing reckless. And he knows exactly what the play is coming, and he's right there to blow it up. Like that's so impressive. Like he doesn't have a lot of reps, and I know I keep saying that, but like to have that recognition is it's really impressive. Like he sees the lead blockers coming, so he's like, okay, why chase the ball when they're clearly trying to get it out fast? Like if he still has the ball, some type of screen is coming, and he's right there to make the play. There's always going to be a spot for guys like that on my football team. Like that is tape study, that's preparation. You love to see that. That's feel. And like you see, they're not running in between the tackles for a reason because they're like, we don't love our offensive line here. Like we're just gonna try to take them out of the game and make them a non-factor. That's why they keep doing all this funky shit. And they're trying a lot of stunts and stuff in this game, which is translatable for the Bears because the Bears do that a ton. Like the Bears don't try to blitz a ton. They try to throw off your protections with games and stunts, which I think he's a very good profile for like a looper, for the guy that comes in, the tackles, and exploits a gap that they're trying to scheme up for him. But again, it's not really a skill. Like that's more of a scheme thing, if anything. And again, like you just love the mentality here because they're leaving him unblocked. They're trying to kick him out with some pullers, and he's just right there to make the play. Like he's not afraid at all. That's hits, folks. That's hits mentality right there. And you wish he was maybe committed on the outside a little bit more, like take him on and then frame yourself, kind of parallel to the sideline. But still, I mean, it is what it is, right? He's still the effort is there, and he still kind of blew it up. I mean, he makes the play, so I can't be too mad at him. You just love the mentality, though. Toughness will never be a question for him. And they're showing him so much extra attention. It's again, I don't want to hype up nothing here, but look what they're doing. Like they got a running back right there to chip him, and he knows it, right? And this is something he just expects at this point. They're right there to chip him, so he's going to try to fake again on the outside, come back into the inside. That's probably why there's so many inside counters in this game because they are showing him so much attention, and he's just trying to give himself easier looks. So I get what he's doing. It might not be the best to learn from, right? Like what he's actually bringing to the table or like the most valuable things he's bringing to the table. But it's good that he's aware of these things, right? That's the nice thing about having a Montez Sweat, though, because when Montez Sweat gets all the attention, then Austin Booker has the one-on-ones to really feed off. The Bears are still looking for that guy, whether that's going to be the guy that kind of ascends past Montez Sweat and lets Montez Sweat kind of eat on the one-on-ones, or someone that can capitalize off the one-on-ones Montez Sweat provides you. And again, I don't think Austin Booker is necessarily the guy that's ever going to ascend past a Montez Sweat, but I do think he can take advantage of the one-on-ones that Montez Sweat would provide him, especially on obvious pass rushing downs. Look, they got more extra attention. And look at the insides. Oh, So the tackle actually did a pretty good job here. I think he was a little too early with it. Again, he's got to sell. He's got to sell the outside more, and I think he's maybe just like hyper aware that they're trying to chip him, so he's rushing the inside moves. Because I mean, look, they're showing him so much extra attention here just by the alignment. They got an H back on his side. They have the running back on his side. They're clearly trying to throw his rush off however they can, but no one really does end up helping him. The tackle that is, and they're just trying to pick up to see if this linebacker is a blitzer. And I think he's a little too quick to hit this inside move. If he would have sold the outside more, get this tackle to overset and then hit it. Yeah, again, I think the timing was just off there. But I mean, the ability to do it is so clean for him. I mean, it is like the purest press B spin move on Madden for Mr. Austin Booker. Sorry, just scrolling past till we get him. Again, yeah, I don't know why he's slow playing things too much. I think that's been an issue with this game. In this situation, there's no one to chip him. I wish he would just have a little bit more urgency getting off the ball here. Like, and maybe I mean, that's probably a good thing to bring up what he needs to work on. If you're not going to be, again, the most high end athlete, which he's not, like he ran a bad 40, his 10-yard split wasn't great. His broad jump was good. His vertical jump was good. And his agilities, I think, were okay. But you better be a damn marksman when it comes to timing up that snap. Like you have to give yourself every edge possible. And that's something he's still learning to do. I think he slow plays things a little bit too much. He's trying to work his moves based on what tackles are trying to do to him. And that's great and all, but it's kind of like a quarterback getting to their first read. Ideally, that's what you want them to do. Get to their first read and throw the ball to open guys, right? So have an initial move for edge rushers, have an initial move and hope it works, right? And then counter if it doesn't, because the most valuable wins they can provide are the quick ones. And you wish you saw a little bit more quick wins as a true outside speed rusher. I don't think you see as much for Austin Booker. His quick wins coming back to the inside. Like that's what he likes to do. And this is a decent power rush too. Like he does get some drive back on the tackle, but it kind of dies out on him, which I don't think power is ever going to be like something he can rely on, but he definitely has some pop in his hands. Yeah, and they're trying the blitz again, where they kind of want him to occupy the tackle and then have a corner or the slot corner blitz. Don't really learn a whole lot what he's able to do. Yeah, so I'm sorry if this isn't the most eventful game. I think the Texas game is better. I just didn't want to run back the same stuff I was kind of going over the last time. But I think the next guy I'm gonna do is probably Kieran Amagaji or maybe even a Caleb Williams game. I think I might do Caleb Williams actually. Some of the 2022 tape, I thought he was able really to show off some of the in-structure play that people kind of question with him. I think that's maybe the next game that I do, or the next games that I do. But I mean, when I got into Austin Booker, full disclosure, I like wasn't expecting much. He falls at the 5th round, didn't test great. It's like from a profile standpoint, hasn't played a lot of football. And I was pretty blown away with how good he is with his hands. And that's why I was like, I need to I wanted to break him down for myself, but then I wanted to kind of break him down for everyone else to see if they are with me or what their thoughts on him, because I'm always here to talk with anybody to learn more or learn someone else's opinion. Like I was just really blown away from his tape, and I get why the Bears traded back up into the 5th round to get him. Again, I don't know if this is a game plan thing. Like, I don't know why he keeps trying to rush on the inside. I wish you saw more. Like, this is, I think, a perfect opportune time to try the outside. It's a semi-close game. I mean, they're only down by 2 scores. I think this is the time to start picking it up and really getting after it. So he's head up over the tackle here, or a little bit shaded on the outside. All right. Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot to take away from his play because they're leaving him unblocked. It was a reverse. He didn't pick it up or he didn't notice. It happens. All right. So hopefully this is when they start to drop back and pass, which I don't know why it's lagging so much. I apologies. But when a team is down, this is usually when they try to kind of air it out and come back in a game. This is the reps you want to see because I think it's important to kind of understand what I think Austin Booker will be in the NFL, which is a situational pass rusher. Like for the people that think he's going to develop as an every down guy, put some weight on him, I really don't want to put any weight on him. Like, yes, if he can get stronger, for sure, absolutely could get stronger, especially against the run if that's what you want to do. I'm not saying that, but if you're putting weight on him to take away from some of the athleticism that is kind of there, again, he's not a great athlete. Like I wouldn't want to do that. Like I think getting him to where he's explosive and fast is more important than adding unnecessary weight and try to make him an every down player because you don't find every down players in the 5th, 6th rounds, right? Like you're finding guys who can fill a role for you. And that role for me, what I see from Austin Booker is a situational pass rusher, which is a very valuable role. Like guys that can come in on long and late downs, which is usually when the game is in the balance, can dictate games, right? That are effective in those roles can dictate games. And that's kind of what I see for an Austin Booker, which is where I think he can provide the most value. So I want him to be explosive and twitchy versus trying to make him the edge 2 of this team. I don't necessarily think that's in the cards for him. I think he's going to be more so of a high-end edge 3, which, again, is not a slight by any means. A guy like Bryce Huff that just got paid is the most ideal version of that, right? Like you're not playing that guy against the run. He's like 6'2", 240. But as a pass rusher, as a pure pass rusher, he's as good as anybody in the NFL. And I'm not saying Austin Booker can be that, but in terms of where he can be at his best, that's the role I see him in, playing like 30 to 35% of your snaps on the important downs, which is the obvious passing ones. And like he's got hand pop, man. Like for being that slight, like he can. You see tackles feel the jolt when he's able to land that two-handed stab or the long arm. They feel it, man. Like look at Kingsley grasping for air right here. This is an NFL tackle, right? Like he just got drafted because look who's winning the leverage battle there. I mean, he's just completely under his pads. Kingsley is off balance. Like that, there's something to work with there, which is crazy because like I wouldn't say like strength is a part of his game, but power and hand pop, he's got it. It's kind of like reminiscent of Nolan Smith, where you're like, this dude looks like a linebacker, yet has some pop in his hands. It's really impressive. Okay, there's the speed rush. Okay, so there's the speed rush, right? There we go. We finally got one, everybody who stuck with the stream. We finally got one. And I'm sorry if I didn't point him out, but he's again over Kingsley Suamataia. And he didn't land it, right? He didn't totally duck under him, but he's trying the ghost move here. And what I mean by the ghost move is you are completely ducking under the offensive tackle, reducing your surface area of your chest completely to where they cannot get hands on you. And that's what he's trying here, right? And this is a very valuable skill. It's a very rare skill. Not a lot of edge rushers can do this. If you're thinking about the best ones, Von Miller was like the king of the ghost move. I mentioned that on my stream yesterday. Guys who can completely just duck under tackles like this. Boom, right? and he lost his balance there. So I don't know if it's going to be in the arsenal for a lanky guy like Austin Booker, but he was close. He was close. But really dipping that shoulder, look, how are you supposed to get hands on that? If you stay unbalanced, which some guys have that a rare ability to do so, how are you supposed to get hands on him and block him? Like there's reps where I will tell anyone who is interested to learn more about this kind of move and the rarity of it, watch Von Miller's highlight tape and you just see like tackles like, what am I supposed to do? They're like playing limbo. It's pretty impressive. All right. Hopefully, I'm. This is the first time I'm seeing 45. So hopefully, like the bench players aren't in right now, because if they are, we might have to wrap up the stream. Yeah, I think that might be it, everyone. But overall thoughts. I mean, I could still break him down, do other games, not tonight, but in the future. I mean, this summer. That's mainly what I'm going to be trying to do. That in our podcast, obviously, follow us at Bears Blog Boys on Twitter. You can follow me. Obviously, whoever's watching this probably already does follow me. But you can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. But yeah, I'm going to be looking to get into more breakdowns. I want to break down Caleb, obviously. I want to break down Rome Odunze. I want to break down Kieran Amagaji. And I want to break down Shane Waldron's offense. It's kind of what I've been trying to dabble in with the limited time that I have. Yeah, and I just want to, reach out to the people and talk Bears with everyone. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. So I hope you enjoyed the stream for those who stuck around. And until we meet again, y'all, keep it real. Bear down.